the Aye, the embodiment of it, literally bringing those frequencies right in to the body with you, and the rest of it. But this will give time when we do these parts now. It will give time for the frequencies, the activations to settle in our fields and to finish whatever their cycling is, like as they're turning on, and before we go into the next round. So if we can just remember that one image. There's another image I just want to show really quick. It's the last one that shows the Christ Star vehicle, please. Don't need to go there. No, I just need Christ Star vehicle. Yeah, I'm just going to put this up really quick in case anybody doesn't know what the Christ Star vehicle looks like, because you will be going into Christ Star vehicle like we always do when we go into any of these journeys or projections. It's a really clean one.
That one there?
No, it has the vehicle. That's just the shapes on the outside. Try the one before it.
I'm not seeing it.
Well, maybe it didn't get in there.
No,
Let me see.
it's not.
Well, it should be. Oh, well, anyway, I'll use that one. That one's all right. It was in the paper. Just give me the other one. It's fine. There, this looks like it might be it. There it is.
Yeah, there we are.
For anybody who doesn't know what the Christ Star vehicle looks like. Okay. This shape here would form around your body. It's actually a crystalline, like a gossamer crystalline capsule, but it's also formed of what are called Akasha Merkaba fields. So it's actually spinning fields of energy that are around you. And the sphere levels of your spirit body and all of that is not showing all of the anatomy, because if you put it all in one place, you can't see what you're looking at when you have the spirit body and the spirit body and the Rasha body and the light body and the Aji body. When you put all of that anatomy in one place on one diagram, you can't see what you're looking at in black and white. If you could do it as a hologram hanging in the middle of the air and make each one of them a different color, you could actually see how they'd interact, but we don't have that technology here. So anyway, so if for those of you who don't know, you'd have this capsule around you. These are actually flame fields that form at different areas, and we won't go into those. We went into those a long time ago explaining what they were and that kind of stuff. But this is the shape that if you're going to visualize, and there's a certain breathing thing, there's actually a 3-step breath, but you don't have to know that right now. You can just actually, because there's enough people who do it and they know how to do it, like with a 3-step breath, you just go and literally push it out around you when we get into mode, all right, when we get into where we go to the journey. Because right now, if you don't know anything about it and you just go and try to do it, you probably won't get a full activation, because the other people haven't actually activated in the shield yet. What it'll do when everybody does the breathing, it actually makes a huge one around the entire shield that actually reaches out to the people in this room, but also reaches out to anybody on the planet that actually has the Aquafarian shield coding in their DNA. So it's pretty neat. So that just gives you an idea around your body. Here's your body. There is your Christ Star vehicle. There are some of the flame fields that form around it and flame fields that form within it. And that's good enough to go. And then we put the one back that I was showing the Wa fields and stuff on, please. That was the one with the heart bodies. It was the one I had on right before this. Yep. So we're going to take a break so I can get and this may be 15, 20 minutes, they're saying, because they're going to give me the directions. But when we get back, we're going to be using this basic visual. All right, this will be the basic visual, because when we do the projections, we know that we're out here in the Kalihara cycle, and we're Kali Yuga cycle, and we're going to go through we've already accessed the Wa fields in the last workshop, which means the shield has, and even if you haven't been at the last workshop, you will pick up the frequencies while you were in shield to do that. That's why you'll be able to do this connection, because of the amount of people that have already done all of the clearings to, the activations and clearings in the body to allow the frequencies in. But we will be sitting like little Buddhas in our bubbles. Imagine a Buddha, he doesn't have to be a little pudgy guy, it can be a little skinny guy too, or a girl, right? Or an androsh with a orb bubble around them. And it can be a shining orb bubble if you want to. but only when you're transmitting. No. So we're going to imagine that we're sitting on the outside of this, sitting on top with the Wa field right under us. So we're actually entering the first level of the Aya field. And I'm probably going to need to keep those words really close to me so when I'm giving the meditation, I don't twist my yas up all over. But that will be the visual we'll be using. So I'll leave this up on the thing for when we come back. And when we come back, I'll have the techniques to run live. And it's a two-part. I think the first part's quite short, and then the second part's a little bit longer, but it shouldn't keep us up for ages. Alrighty, see you soon, 15, 20. Alrighty, well, we've got the first two techniques. The first one is pretty simple. Second one is not simple, it's a journey, but it has an activation of the flows before the journey, and we're going to do that. What it will do is bring it's activating the eternal dream stream ayaye flows. Yes, I'm getting my ahs right here. I'm trying to get my ahs right. And the second part of it, we will do our first journey once the flows are open into the Sea of Dreams, or the Aya. Right now, before we do it, there's a couple things I just need to point out on the diagram for people, just in case they haven't seen this. This is part of that structure again. It's just showing 4 of the balls, right, instead of like the 12 that would be there. Just to show you these chambers, you have the Maharishi chamber and the Kalihara chamber running vertical, right? And front to back here, you have the Kalihara chamber out front, and you have the Maharishi chamber going out back, and that's the one that connects into to the Bardo chambers and stuff. I'm just using this diagram. You don't have to read the stuff on it. I'm just using it to show you the shapes. What we're going to be using is the vertical column that runs in our system. So I just wanted to show you that. And next one, please. And in relation to your body, angular rotation of particle spin problem. Yeah. You know, the diagrams are getting tired. Trying to go horizontal. So, and when we get into those shapes in relation to our bodies and around our bodies, it's the Hare Krishna chamber, the one vertically. We're going to be doing a lot of action there, and also this one here, and I forget what it's called, but it's the one that goes downward. This one actually here refers to the one that goes side to side, that rides your rod side to side. We're not going to be using this one or this one, I don't think, right now. It's just going to be the big vertical one. So you can just think of it as the Hare Krishna chamber, but we're going to use the bottom part too, because there's something that in the last couple workshops came out. It's called the orb reservoir that was opened in Earth's core, and it's the Asayas orb reservoir, which is a particular type of matter. It's the in-between matter between the outer domain and the middle domain. So anyway, there's this orb reservoir that was opened already by activations that the group has done before. We're going to be drawing frequency or orbs, literally little tiny, those little snow, they look like snow orbs, they're the elemental orbs. We'll be drawing flows of that up into ourself and then moving that around and doing things with that at a certain point. So just so you know that when I say, go down and breathe in, when I say breathe orbs up, right, from the orb, however it comes out, because it gets worded however it does when I'm on wave as far as the live, running the live technique. But it means just using your breath to bring through these. If this connected into Earth core way down there, it would be bringing up the orb flows up through the whole chamber, but it's going to be centered in here where you concentrate them in there at a certain point. So I just wanted to point out these structures in case anyone wasn't familiar with them, because they do pop up as if you know those chambers are there. So now you know those chambers are there. Now what was really neat, and it's really funny because my voice progressively over the years is getting croakier and croakier, and I used to be able to sing a lot of the things. Now it's a bit rough. I can still sing them. I can croak them out to get them down so people that have voices can sing them. But it was really funny because I thought they were going to start this later, like tonight, when they start getting into the using the sounds, and there's a whole command that goes with this. But it was really funny. I'm walking back and I'm hearing part of it already, and it was at the right rhythm. And there's a group of people that were playing with just the Aya sounds out there, and I got nudged from the beloveds. By the way, have them come in and set the field first to begin moving that vibration in those tones through the room and through the shield. And they said, by the way, it is the right BPR to start with for now until they give the larger command and all of that. So we've asked the drummers that are good enough to catch up with whatever the voicers are doing, right? So we're going to do a couple of rounds. They'll let me know when, is what they're saying. They'll go, okay, that's good. So just to actually start building a frequency field that will anchor these things. Once we open them, it will serve as an anchoring rod for whatever it is, flows. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go back to like the dream stream. I can do that, right? So it will help once we get into the sea of dreams. We'll be able to anchor more fully the dream stream. The dream stream. Yes, I'm really glad they give us these little like code words to use, like dream stream, so we don't have to go I'm lost, right? Yeah, because it takes a while to learn the words. It is best to use them when you're doing technique. It is best to use the actual, words. Like if it doesn't matter if I'm speaking it to you. If I say dream stream, you know what it means, right? But if you were like, say, chanting or whatever, you don't want to go dream stream, right? You want to use the real tonal value of the frequencies you're trying to bring in. So anyway, they're asking us to have these guys because they got guided actually to now that the Beloveds are actually, they've done this before too with some of the drumming and sometimes some of the singing where they'll get I might get the words, but they'll actually give how to sequence them to like a little collective within a group, and it's not always the same people either, but it's like they speak with all of us in certain ways, so sometimes people end up being asked to do things like this because they were doing it out there because Spirit was speaking with them, right? So we'll start with this, and then we'll go into the visualization activation levels. So once we call stop on this, first of all, I would just like for everybody a lot of people already did activate your Christ Star vehicle. For people who don't know how to do that, just remember the shape of that Christ Star vehicle around you. Take one big inhale into your azare or the base of your thymus gland, right about there. Hold it for a minute, and then use the exhale to push outward, and that will pop your Christ Star vehicle because you have the field support for it right now. If you feel like chanting along with the chanters here, feel free to do that because it's really powerful when the whole shield starts actually, running the tones. It gets really, really powerful. There may come a time when they ask me to ask you guys to pick up the rhythm, just so you know, you guys here, that they may ask, okay, increase it a little bit. That actually builds the frequency. It's starting to pick up the BPR with it, so they may ask us to do that as we move through it. There'll be a certain point where they call, okay, bring it down, which means it'll slow it down, BPR, go quieter, quieter, quieter till it stops. And at that point, I will come in with technique 1, which is called the in the image of God. This is where we turn ourselves temporarily into conscious clouds. All right? And once we do that for a bit and get a little used to that feeling, then technique 2 has 2 parts. The first part is activating the eternal dream stream, Ayaya flows. That's releasing the flows. And then the second part, 2B, is journey to the sea of dreams. And this is where we actually we take our cloud self and we project up the conduit that we have opened. And the Wayayas from that Wayaya whatever band around, before you get to the Aya field, there was that Wayaya void field. All right, they will be working with us. The Wayayas races from there will be working to help us with this. They're helping to open the conduits between the Wayaya field and the Aya field. And remember, the Aya field is when you get beyond the immediate cosmic matrix. There are 2 other levels to this that we will go through this evening once we see the structures. Because seeing the structures, actually, it gives you the map. It gives you the mathematical map through the optical pineal injection. Just even seeing them for a second, you're actually getting the math of the link up. It's like a dial-up code mathematically, but visually imbued. So we'll be doing the going up for a journey, and then coming back in. Once we're done with that, that will be the end of the activations for this period. Then, we all have to get some sleep. I have to get some sleep, and then get back to get the program. So I'm still looking at probably 10 o'clock. All right, which means we are going to be up late, but I'm not going to be up this late. We're not going to be up this late because we've got the bus trip the next day. So if we get maybe 10 to 2 or something, if you go to sleep around 2:30, you still have a decent amount of time to get some sleep and that kind of stuff. If that works, okay. Are you all right with that? Can you survive that? Good, cool. Okay, that way, good. So instead of telling you after the technique, what I'd like to do is once we are done, we'll just kind of like float on, home to your rooms to bed or whatever you want to do, or breakfast or whatever, right? Instead of me going into dialogue again after we've gone into that space, just like take the space of the experience, the meditation experience with you, instead of me interrupting it with logical dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Okay, so that's basically the plan. So I will run this meditation after they're done with this part, and then I'll just, when it's over, they'll usually say something in a nice, calm voice, and then we'll just kind of like cruise on back to wherever we're going. And next time I will see you will be at about 10 o'clock, and I will do my best to hit that because we don't have a lot of leeway as far as hours go. But we will be back for the rest of the program. And there's still quite a bit to cover, including 2 more activation levels that go with this. And I do believe some version, or at least the beginning version, of a code that goes with the Aya. And also, I think the Aya command. It's an expansion of what you guys are doing. I don't know what it sounds like yet, but I've got some of the words, but you have some of the words in what you're doing. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we're moving through right now. And I will be quiet now and let you guys start to go. But remember, when you hear these guys, let them get their rhythm first and get it kind of moving, and you'll feel a harmonic. You'll actually feel it's almost like a quiet rumble. It's really the under signature of it. And once they're getting established, I might say something just gently like, all right, join in, and anybody that feels like toning in. And then if you tone in, it's actually opening that frequency receiver set in your own fields. So the toning really, it has a purpose. It's not just about focusing your mind. It's about bringing the vibration of that that tone set into awakening it in your body. So feel free to tone with them when we do this, and the drummers will drum. And if you feel like doing so, a lot of us that have been doing this for a while, sometimes we'll drum on our our knees, or do the feet thing if we feel like the hands want to move too. So it's up to you what you feel like doing. You don't have to do any of it. And again, as with any techniques we ever do, for anybody that's new, everybody that isn't new knows this already, over and over and over again, because I say it every workshop, that if you don't want to participate in any level of it, you do not have to. It's not being inflicted on you. Nobody gets upset with you. It's all up to you. If you don't want to do it now because you're not too sure, you can wait and another time. These are recorded, so you can always go back and pick it up again by by running the CDs or the DVDs and just doing the technique at home if you'd prefer. So it's completely optional, and so just I'll leave you with that and do what you like with it. Alrighty, so I will hand this over to the singers and drummers. Yeah, when the spirit moves, the hands go. One of these days I need to learn to drum. Okay, yes, thank you. And thank you guys very much for being the receivers for that coming through. Alrighty. Now we can just slow our breaths a bit, especially us up here drumming. Okay. Give you a few moments just to go back into normal, slower breathing. Get back to your normal breathing rhythm. And then try to consciously slow it by about half. As if you're starting to ride a wave that's going down, slower, deeper into creation. It's like a time wave that usually we ride on the surface of creation. But the Kriss time wave is deep. It runs deep and back up and down and up and down. So let's try to slow the breathing. And now get ready to move us through into the first technique in the image of God. I'll be with you in a moment. I just don't want to pant the technique at you. I'm still panting. Whew, hot. Alrighty. Now, there's many ideas and teachings out in the world that talk about God and whether you can or can't ever know God or touch God or if there even is one. There's a lot of teachings that say that God is a being and that man was created in God's image, therefore God is a man with all the parts associated with men. And there's a lot of misunderstandings, really, about what God's source, who God's source is. It's much bigger than can fit in one form, like a man or a woman. It can be in all forms, but they would only be a small piece of the God force consciousness field. If we want to begin to get an idea, to be able to conceptualize and begin to feel a little tiny bit of what it's like to be God, God's source consciousness field, a living, conscious, intelligent, breathing, thinking, feeling consciousness, just like you are, but on a billions are not enough time scale. So, God's source consciousness field. It is an infinite field of consciousness with no boundaries. Now within it, in that amazing sea of dreams, there are massive and beautiful constructions of reality fields within which individuated lifetimes, existences take place. When we talk about the cosmic matrices, we're referring to the manifest portions, the manifest and materialized portions of the body of God source. But those things take place within the larger consciousness field itself of God source. In some of the things we've taught, we've explained how, as best that can be explained here, how the first Partakai form out of the desire that God source had. And by focusing a bit of its energy just in one place within its own consciousness, within its own mind, the first Partakai was born. And from that, structure emerges. And that structure, continually, there's always rebirths, and there's always the expansion and the contraction back in to the first Partakai. But with where all those Partakai, that can be the Partakai cosmos. Cosmos is made of Partakai that have all that intricate structure. If you could look at them as massive bubbles of manifest creation, They hang somewhere. They hang in the consciousness field of God Source. So there's a little bit of exercises they would like us to get, just to get a feel for what that space is like. The space of being in the image of God Source. God Source is aware of all of its bodies, all of its cosmic matrices, and all of the beings within those matrices, all at the same time, all at once. In this field, this God Source consciousness field, time doesn't work as we experience it here. It is not perceived as that. It is perceived as all things now, in direct cognition and knowing. There is no beginning and no end. There's no start and finish. There is start and finishes to the creation of manifest forms, but not to the consciousness with which they are created. Everything in creation exists within the cosmic God Source consciousness field, and it is made of the substance of God Source. Free will was given as a gift, and that is where we can end up with false systems and things if choices aren't made in harmony with the natural laws of physics that were set in motion to create the cosmic matrix. It is an eternal matrix, which implies it has an immune system, that it will not let itself be destroyed by a certain percentage of the manifest creation choosing to go into fall status. You can't make God fall. That's only a lower systems experiential option. So, what is it like to be the big thinker, the great thinker, the infinite eternal one? We'll never be able to fully answer that, not while we're in single bodies, but we can be able to begin to touch it as it lives within our single bodies. There is a part, because we are made of God stuff, created of the consciousness of God's Source. That doesn't mean we're gods and we can go around bossing everybody around and stuff. That's not what God does anyway. That's what God lets do, who have an ego problem. But the part of us that can touch, and the more we work with techniques, certain techniques of bringing those frequencies into us here, the more we can not just touch that cognition space, that experiential space, but the more it becomes a part of us, where we more and more consciously become walking embodiments of God's Source consciousness. And it changes our state. It changes the way we perceive what we're walking around within. It changes how our emotions work within us. We still have them, but they're much broader and calmer. So the beginnings of reaching this state has to do with opening the essence, going into the essence, the Aya, the essence of the eternal, infinite, unspeakable one. Doesn't have words, unutterable, because there is no sound tone to translate the name or the full encryption of God's Source. So now for a moment, as you're breathing gently, just focus your attention on your Azure area at the base of your thymus gland, which is right about there for anyone who doesn't know. And just breathe gently from that space, in and out of that space. Now imagine or visualize. If you can't visualize, that's all right. Just intend it through, I intend that this shape is there. Imagine around your Azure, there is a cloud shape forming. Just a little sparkly cloud. It can be any color you'd like it to be right now. A little portion of your consciousness that is seeking to go back to its more original state, its more eternal state of conscious cloud. Breathe a bit more, and as you inhale, hold at the top of the inhale. And as you exhale, gently puff out that cloud to a bigger cloud inside of you where it fills your whole chest area. And just breathe normally again and realize that every exhale breath makes that cloud a little bit more materialized, a little bit, not bigger, it's not expanding yet, it's strengthening as opposed to getting larger in shape and size. Expand it to where it's just about out around, a little bit around your body. And kind of, it doesn't have to be circular formation either for this. Where it extends out a little bit in front of you and around your sides. And as you breathe, try to begin to feel it around your body. Feel the parts of it that are on the outside touching your body, as if there was a gentle mist that was pooling around that area of your body, around your chest and your Azure. Try to feel the texture of it, because there actually is a texture. And if you work with this, you can actually feel it against your skin. Even if you can't feel that texture right now, that's all right. Is if you haven't done a lot of techniques, you get sensitized the more techniques you do with being able to sense the subtle, sensual experiences that go with them. So just, if you can't feel it, just intend that cloud is there, any color you want at the moment. And we're going to draw it back in again on an inhale breath. So let's inhale in and hold, and draw the cloud back into a concentrated cloud right at the Azure area. And this time when we exhale, we're going to push the cloud out until it fills the whole shape of our body. Inside, as if it's taking on the shape of our body, on the inside of our body. Try to sense the feel of this energy. This is your cloud self, your cloud consciousness. Try to sense it in between the atoms and cells. Try to sense. It's a very subtle sensation, but it is there. We'll take a few inhale, exhale breaths, and when we inhale, we're going to actually just tighten, not change the shape of the cloud as it's expanded out inside of ourselves, but we're actually just going to pull a little bit of tension into the units of energy that make it up, where it's strengthening. On the inhale, we go inhale and pull in. And then exhale out and push out a little bit, where it makes a little flame. For each little speck in that sparkly cloud makes a little flame, like a little burst of flame. Do a few of those little flame breaths, where you inhale and tighten it up again. And exhale and flame it. You may sense literally a reverberation run a bit through your body and your nervous system. You may or may not, but I did anyway. One more. Now try to visualize, or at least imagine, that you've amplified the sparkle quality, let's just call it the sparkle quality, of your cloud that is now taking the form of the inside of your body. It's filling out the inside of your body as if it were a hollow form. And we're going to begin moving this now. Now inhale into the Azure and hold for a moment. And on the exhale, we're going to push your cloud form shape, not as a cloud anymore. It's shaped now like your body. We're going to push it upward vertically until its feet are standing on your head. Take a few very relaxed breaths. And on each exhale, move your consciousness that's in your head and in your mind, in your physical body. Try to move portions of it up into the head part of your cloud self. As you put more and more of your conscious awareness into the head of your cloud self, you should be able to get a bit of a sensation as if you're perceiving from two perspectives. One, that is, you have your eyes closed here, so you don't have to worry about what you're seeing, but you can feel the plane that if you opened your eyes, that you would be seeing if you were looking straight ahead. Well, your cloud body has that same plane where its eyes would be. as if it were going straight out in front of you. It had eyes and you open them, you would be able to see, but as if you're way up there over your own head. So you'd be seeing from a different perspective. Try to just sense these two perspectives right now. Don't worry about opening the eyes of your cloud self. Try to sense yourself that feels the plane out your physical eyes, and also try to sense the self that can feel that plane extending out way up there where the eyes of your cloud self would be. 2-point perspective. Just hang with that for a moment or two and breathe gently. Now we're going to move our cloud self, still holding the form of our bodies. And inhale into the azurate of both our cloud self and our physical self. And hold for a moment. And on the exhale, we're going to push our cloud self up even further and lay it horizontally up where its face is facing up on the ceiling. Try to sense the change of feeling of perspective. Your physical body is sitting up straight and its perspective plane is down here. Try to sense that consciousness that's yours, that is still up there and you're linked with your cloud self, as if you were laying down and you could feel the ceiling almost touching your nose and the tip of your toes as you're laying down. Try to sense the sensations and the feeling of the space around you from the two different perspectives. Now for a moment, try to put as much as your consciousness into your cloud self as you can. Do this by trying to first remember there's a moment before you lose consciousness when you go to sleep at night. It's a little type of fuzzy space. Sometimes you can see through your eyelids when they're closed in that space. Sometimes it takes a while before those perceptions turn on. But that's that space that right before you're still vaguely aware of what's happening in the room around you and in your physical body, but you know you're going under. There's a space right there that can actually catch hold and expand that links the two states and the brainwave patterns that go with them. Try to find that space in your physical head right now. Just try to remember when you're falling asleep, you're still here, but yeah, go on drowsy. Stop right there. And when you feel that little drowsy bit, stop there. And then in that really kind of drowsy way, as if your eyes are like, you know, like kind of not quite crossed, but just, yeah, I'm going under. From that space where your consciousness is relaxing in your physical head, just inhale, and on the exhales, do several of these. Breathe upward and shift that feeling of that sleepy, drowsy space with you up into your horizontal cloud body self. Try to imagine you're in your cloud body self now, laying down just like you are when you're going to go to bed, and you're right there at that state, almost asleep. Now in that space between being almost here and almost gone as far as sleep goes, there's a little window that can open. You can perceive it first, imagine it, and try to imagine it from the consciousness that is in, laying horizontally in your cloud form body up on the ceiling. Imagine this little tiny speck of a Christ star vehicle shaped. It looks like just a little diamond. That is a window that can open into a band of frequency that will link the two states, and eventually you'll be able to start seeing things like when you close your eyes and you're getting ready to go to sleep, you'll start seeing, like you may be starting seeing it through your eyelids a little bit, where you can see shapes in the room right through your eyelids when they're closed, especially if the room is dark. And then you might start seeing this wonderful, like ultraviolet pulsing kind of blob that happens in the third eye when you start being able to go through and open the link between the sleeping and the waking state. You don't have to worry about doing those things right now, but you're laying up there and you're almost asleep, but you see that little window. Try to move your consciousness from being in that really sleepy state in your horizontal cloud body into that Christ star window. It's almost as like you just went out of a dark cave and whoa, just walked into light, and you're not quite as sleepy anymore. But there's still a sleepy part that's back in your head, in the cloud body, And there's still the other point of perspective that is aware of both of these things occurring, that is down in your physical body. Now, holding in the mind's eye of your cloud body, we're going to inhale, and when we inhale, you're going to pull your cloud body, the whole cloud body, in to a little speck of cloud and put it right in the center of the Christ Star Diamond window. So inhale and pull. And exhale out into the Christ Star Diamond window. Try to notice the change of sensation. There is a bit of change of sensation because now you're very tiny. You've constricted yourself into a little tiny shape while your body, your physical body, is still down here in a large shape. And now from using the diamond core crystal of your Christ Star, little Christ Star window with the cloud inside of it, we're going to use some breaths to expand the cloud outward around it. First in a sphere, and then we're going to have a little bit of shape-shifting fun to get the feel of what it means to be your form being a living consciousness field. So let's inhale and inhale into the Christ Star window. Find the little speck that was our cloud body, and use the exhale to push it out into a sphere around the Christ Star window. Do a few breaths and make it a bit stronger. And now try to just breathe gently and normally from where you are down here, and try to sense the part of your consciousness that is in a spherical cloud form with its little Christ Star window at the center that's up there. There's also an invisible cord that connects you to your body, so you're not going to lose your cloud body consciousness. The cord actually comes in the back of the heart chakra. The heart chakra is kind of like in between your breasts area, and there's the back part of it that's directly straight through. So you can actually maybe feel a little bit of this. It's a silver cord that comes down from your now spherically shaped cloud self and connects it to yourself. What you're doing is beginning a bit of accessing the astral fields through the fourth chakra, but we're doing it from the aurora continuum, so it's not the general astral field that you would take in astral projection if you weren't using transharmonic frequencies. Now try to sense yourself and the other people that are in cloud body orb, floating up on the ceiling with their little streamers of their silver cords, connecting them back to their bodies. We can pass through each other and move through each other in this state, just like the probability fields rotate through each other without crashing or colliding. We each have our own encryption, which gives us a lone key harmonic that allows us to occupy space in our own way, even if there's other things in that space, without crashing into each other. So try to sense yourself as that spherical cloud, and then also try to sense the others around you. And now we're going to try a little bit of shape-shifting. We're going to, let's say, turn your spherical cloud self as if it went two-dimensional and turned into like a circle plate shaped thing, or a shield. So you're going to inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to collapse it down and flatten it out, so it's just a circle. Try to sense yourself, the part of yourself that is now a disc shape. Try to sense the difference between that and the sphere shape that it was before. Now we're going to inhale again, and this time we're going to make ourselves into a cloud that is a vertical squiggle shape, whatever squiggle shape you want to make it. So inhale. And with your cloud, push upward and downward simultaneously, vertically, from that center point, and make yourself a living squiggle. And let yourself move around. It doesn't have to be a fixed squiggle. Once it's a squiggle, it can, turn itself around like snake or smoke rings. It can make shapes. It can flatten itself out into a flat squiggle, all sorts. Play with it for a little bit with your squiggle. If you want, you can bounce it up and down from the ceiling to the floor and back again. And feel how it bounces. Feel the feeling when it hits the floor, and then when it hits the ceiling, and you're bouncing like a little ball, boing, 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 except you're a squiggle that kind of springs, goes boing, boing, boing. Just try to sense and feel and follow it and track it with your consciousness. You can play with this when you're not here too, you know. You can do all sorts of things with your cloud self. Okay, now we're going to try to get a little bit closer to the concept of what the Aya is the essence of, the God Source consciousness field. Let's bring our squiggle back and hold it still up there at the ceiling. Remember, it's got the little Christ star window gem inside. We're going to inhale it back into the Christ star window. And this time when we exhale it, we're going to exhale in a horizontal plane, but up at the ceiling, and just a little bit, but no boundaries, not like a sheet of paper. It can be flat like a sheet of paper, but it doesn't have any square or whatever boundaries around it. And we're going to take several breaths now. Each exhale, we're going to expand it a little further, but when you inhale, you hold and try to feel the size of your consciousness plane. You're creating a consciousness plane, cloud. Try to feel the size of it. And then on the next exhale, you expand it out a little further. Then inhale again and hold. Feel the boundaries, the expanded boundaries. And try to sense the difference, because there will be, when you start really tuning into the sensations of this, there will be a sensation that when it's a smaller plane, cloud, it will be concentrated, right? Where the awareness is more tightly, if the awareness was made of molecules, which it isn't, it's made, let's just call them sparkles of consciousness, they would be more condensed in the smaller plane shape. But every time you breathe and exhale and expand it out, they start to separate a bit. The smaller condensed form of the cloud is very similar in its own way to the type of consciousness you have when you look out on the 3D world. Its little sparkles are much more condensed, and they're much more focused in just, a single direction down here. As you expand, inhale and exhale and expand, feel the sparkles of your consciousness plane stretching out further and further and further. Feel them stretching out of the room. Feel them stretching across the state of Arizona. Stop there for a moment. Stop expanding. You can still breathe, but stop expanding. Try to sense, okay, you can imagine the picture of a map of, where you see the little shape that's Arizona. And now imagine you're looking at it from aerial view, and you can see your consciousness. It's actually like a cloud plane hanging over Arizona. And now, when you go into that, move yourself from looking at it as if you're looking at an aerial view to sensing. You're back up in there with it. There is a sense of spatial shape-shifting that will come if you work with these kind of techniques enough, where you can feel the expansion and you can realize that is you. You're still cohesive. You're still conscious. You can still think. You can still feel. You can still desire. You can still create things. That cloud of expansion of your consciousness, of yourself, is the beginning of understanding what the God Source consciousness field experiences itself as. We'll only be able to experience the little part of what that means that each of us carries the encryption for. But it is enough to get us out of our heads and out of our bodies. Because once you get into that space, if you move yourself into that expanded over the state of Arizona space, hang in there like a cloud. Imagine a little wind ripples through the earth grids, and you can feel yourself going with the wind. You didn't get blown away, you just kind of rippled through you. Feel those sensations. There's a relaxing peace with this. There's also a gentle swaying motion. It's not quite like a river. It's not big waves. It's just a gentle back and forth motion. For some reason, right now, they're saying use the back and forth motion. Feel your consciousness drifting up there. Imagine how tiny your life looks from the perspective of being up there with a God Source consciousness field. It's like having a near-death experience without dying. You look back and you realize, wow, those problems weren't so big at all, were they? Geez, they were just tiny. Gosh, if I'd only known they weren't so big, it wouldn't have bothered me so much. You can learn to move into these spaces. These are spaces you actually pass through when you do have near-death experiences. I had one when I was 18. And there's a very beautiful, peaceful space. And it's before you go into the light and all of that stuff. There's a space where you are free from the biochemical harnesses of the body. You can begin to build the bridge of being able to do that much more fully when we use these techniques. And now that we're moving into activating the Aya flows, and I have to cheat and look at their Ayaye, eternal dream stream flows, we'll have more and more ability to hold the consciousness we have here, but also to hold that greater free identity. That cloud is just the beginning of the part of us that is free, that can go anywhere, do anything eventually, and that looks back on this life and really realizes it's just a tiny little experience. Like, gee, I decided to go to a movie one day, and I got really engrossed in the movie, and then I decided I'd come out and leave the theater because, well, I was done looking at the movie. I can always go back and, be with the movie. But if you can cultivate the ability to have both states consciously, you know you're here, you know you're engaged here, you're fully focused, you're not detaching, yet you are going into a non-attachment space at the same time and holding two perspectives. This can bring a calm into your biochemical realities, into your physical atoms, into the D2 emotional body and the D2 physical body that has not been able to be opened yet in our bodies, in our fields. From this space, they're going to move us into the other two activation levels for Technique 2. Technique 2 is about activating the Ayaya dream stream, which is the moving stream of consciousness from the Aya field, or the God Source essence field. We're not just going to play with our own cloud now. We're going to move through the passages that have been opened, the ascension passages that have been opened so far, and with the assistance of the YAS crew, and to call to mind where we're going. If you remember that one diagram that had just the one large circle with the two smaller Hara body circles in it and the little tiny ones inside of that, we're going to go way up beyond that structure, and we're going to end up sitting outside of it by the end of this journey. We're going to sit outside the cosmic matrix. And that means we'll be opening the passages from every level, because as I've said, from the tiniest level, our microcosmic bodies, to the planet, to the solar system, to the galaxy, the metagalaxy, the Vekas, all the way up, those structures exist. So there are the aurora fields on all those structures, there are the YAS fields on all those structures, and there's the little band of the Aya structures. But beyond that, there's just a little band of it until you get to the full outer form of the cosmic matrix structure. We have a bit of a band that we're going to move into first. And when we come back this evening is when we'll see the final code graphs that take us up to the final big circle that is from that circle or sphere, that the rest around you is pure Aya, pure God Source consciousness field. So right now we're entering the first level, the first band on a cosmic level of that. We're going to open those flows, and then we're going to journey to there. And when we do the journey, and by the way, you're still hanging out over Arizona, just so you know. Yeah, it's all right. If you forget yourself, your body will draw you back eventually, so don't worry about getting lost out there. But we are going to, when we go into that, when we finally finish this technique, we're actually going to leave a portion of our consciousness in that space for when we go to sleep, for now, and we'll bring them back, that part of ourselves back, to, when we do, no, say tomorrow, but this evening, when we do the rest of the techniques. Okay, so the first part is activating the eternal dream stream, Yaye flows. Just let me look at my notes here for a moment. More like hieroglyphics. Okay. Now they would like us to inhale, and as we inhale, gently bring our cloud back from over the state of Arizona and bring its plane in and into the room and back down. Inhale it back down, right into the Azure area. And then just gently expand it out a little into that fluffy cloud form inside the chest area. And just breathe normally for a few seconds. Because I'm getting the feeling it takes a little while to download. Where it's like coming in, but it's not there yet. And I can feel like little tingles, like, wait a minute, let me get the rest of my cloud in. Okay, so just give it a few minutes of normal, not seconds of normal breath. Okay. Now they're going to have us use our little fluffy cloud inside of ourselves, our cloud self, to begin the process of activating the dream stream Yaye flows. First, they would like us to charge our cloud self with the Asayas orb reservoir orbs. That's down way in Earth core. So imagine you're going to inhale, and as you inhale up that big bottom current, the chamber that we saw in the diagram, it just inhales snow orbs, the ones that look like a blizzard, and just bring them up just to the cloud and fill the cloud with them. This is actually bringing in that between state of matter, the state of matter that's between the outer domains where we are and the middle domains where the Edens are. That's the Asayas level of matter. And we're actually beginning to change a bit of the encryption of our consciousness cloud by bringing the orbs matter state into it. It allows us to access the aurora continuum, the between state aurora continuums more easily. Now, before we do this breath, just remember what that diagram looked like, where we're going to go all the way to the outside, past the YS field, and as if we're sitting out on the outside of the bubble, right? And that big cosmic matrix. But we're not going to sit out there yet. What we're first going to do is we're going to inhale and as we inhale, we're going to keep our cloud inside of our chest, and we're going to keep the orb flow coming from down below. So we're going to inhale and hold for a moment at the Azure. And now we're going to exhale forcefully upward and push our cloud and the orb stream that's coming up behind it all the way up and out, up the chamber, over our head, all the way up and out, past the YS fields, past every level of them, past all of them, until you get to the YS void of the cosmic matrix. And you're just going to let your cloud hang there for a second and breathe gently. This will probably be too far out for you to actually get any sensation from yet, because the flows haven't been activated yet. So just breathe normally while your cloud, as a fluffy little cloud, is hanging up there. Way up there in the diagram as you're way, 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 way out past Andromeda, way past all of that. Now imagine that you can put your consciousness again in your cloud, because it is a part of your consciousness, way up there. Imagine your cloud is inhaling frequencies. It's going to go and inhale and contract itself, and as it inhales, it's going to be pulling in some of the frequencies from the Waiea field band. And you can visualize them as being gold and silver. Then you can just exhale gently. And for a couple of inhales, just charge your cloud up there with the gold and silver frequencies of the YAS band. Now we're just going to move the cloud just a little bit on the next inhale. We're going to inhale it, contract it, and push it up just a bit as if it's going through the membrane between the YAS field and the Aya, the first Aya band. So inhale and pull the cloud just up a little where it's half and half on each. And then exhale just like a starburst of energy outward. And just breathe gently for a moment, because there will be a pop sensation way up there in your cloud. And as a pop sensation occurs, and it's the YAS are assisting us to do that, they're actually transmitting something that will allow this pop to happen. Imagine you're just breathing normally now, but the Aya field is actually drawing your cloud up now. Drawing your cloud up to the outside of the cosmic bubble, cosmic matrix. Just sense it just for a moment. And now we're going to begin to activate the flows. Observe for a moment while your cloud self is still up there, hanging out on the outside of the bubble, that from the place where your cloud moved upward through that, your Kali column that runs up vertically, way up through, you're still connected to your body all the way through all those universes, all the way out to the outside the cosmic matrix. You're connected through your chamber. So sit in your cloud for a minute, just as your cloud, sitting on the top there in that amazing space where time is just not real at all. It's real when you're in the matrix, but you're outside the matrix for the first time as a cloud. But notice something interesting is starting to happen. There's a little sense of like vibrational movement right down below underneath your cloud where the YAS field is. And now try to hold a 2-point perspective, one in your physical body way down here and one still in the cloud. As the cloud self at the top of your chamber, sitting on the outside of the cosmic bubble, you can kind of turn your attention downward and notice in your chamber, coming from the YS level, it looks like gold and silver rain is starting to fall downward, down your chamber. It's going way down there. And it's almost like it's encrypted as well. It's kind of like a lovely, gentle gossamer rain that goes in like little flashes and spurts, but straight down the chamber. If you used a microscope to zero in on one of those little drops, you would see amazing codes, encryptions, language written that says all sorts of things that have to do with you. Now, keeping yourself as cloud up there, return your attention a little bit down here into your physical body. Try to sense up to where your chamber hits the top of the ceiling, because it goes way past there, it goes all the way up to the cosmos. But try to feel the space where it comes in to the ceiling. And in a moment or two, there's going to be the gold and silver rain of the YS fields coming down, the flows of the YS. There's a little bit of a kind of a fuzzy vibration feel, like almost like on the outside of the building, that I can sense it out there, and that will be coming down soon. And they're going to ask us to inhale and hold for a moment, and when it comes, to actually exhale and push it down so it comes in faster. So they'll let us know in a minute. Okay. All right, inhale and hold. And as you inhale, imagine that inhale is actually making the flows of the gold and silver rain come faster. And now we're going to exhale it forcefully and pull those rains down, right down our chambers, right down into the orbit reservoir. And there's going to be a backflow pop that goes shooting right up your chambers all the way up to where your cloud self is sitting outside the cosmic matrix from the orb reservoir. Just breathe gently for a moment. Now we're going to bring our cloud self back down. And there's going to be a very interesting thing that occurs when our cloud self comes back in through the YAS field. Now, the golden silver rain is still going. Those flows are activated and opened in the chamber, and they're running downward. As our cloud way up there sitting now in the Aya, we're going to take some breaths and fill ourselves with the Aya frequency. The Aya frequency itself doesn't have a color. You could use various colors to move with it, just like you can use the name Aya to represent the essence of. But it is best to give it no color, unless it shows you a color. So right now, just imagine you're in this amazing God Source Consciousness Field band, this sea of dreams, this calm sea. And you're just going to inhale by pulling in, as if your cloud has lungs inside of it, and it's going to inhale and pull some of the Aya into itself. Pull it into the center of itself, and then gently exhale it out just to fill itself out. Take a few more Aya breaths. And just fill your cloud with Aya. The invisible, eternal, infinite consciousness. And one more. Now we're ready to bring our cloud self-consciousness back down our chamber and back into our physical body. And as we do this, as our cloud self, now filled with the Aya essence, goes back through that little membrane, that barrier between the Aya field and the YAS field, something really neat is going to happen to the golden silver rain that is pouring down the chambers. As we move the cloud back, our cloud self back through to where it goes back into the YAS layers, we're actually going to open a conduit there that will stay open, and run the Aya frequencies down through our chambers as an open and active flow that will stay with us from this point forward. But before we do this, I'll give you a little clue. Even though the Aya is invisible, it has no direct colors, of all colors and no colors, just like all names and no names. But as we bring our cloud back down into the YAS field, it's going to be an interesting interaction that takes place between that invisible frequency and the YAS frequency, the gold and silver YAS frequency. As soon as we bring our cloud fully into the top part of our chamber that's in the YAS band, there's going to be a popping sensation and a big ultraviolet purple burst, like a starburst to the top of our chamber. And all of the rain, the gold and silver rain, is going to become purple rain, UV, purple rain. It is a combination of the invisible IS frequencies interfacing with the YAS that turns the YAS into the ray of transmutation. It's been called before, the ultraviolet ray. And we're going to do this part now and start the purple rain. And then we in the purple rain are going to come back down into our bodies, and then we'll take the next step. And we're not too far away from done at this point, but we need to activate the purple rain. So let's go back up into our cloud self that's still sitting, waiting to come back down into the YAS field. We're in the Aya. Try to get one last bit of feel for, wow, I'm hanging in the Aya, loving this. Ooh, try to feel the love in this part, because when you get into this space, you seriously might want to go, do I really have to go back down the tube? Because when you really work with these techniques, you will get your consciousness in there where you feel it more real, and you'll realize what a state it really is. It's awesome. But right now, I'm just going to inhale and hold for a minute, and on the exhale, we're going to move our cloud self just a little bit down, but where it's in the top of the tube in the YAS frequency bands, in that band. And then you're going to feel a little bit of like a rumble, like a thunder that you don't hear but you feel. and then there's a flash, and all sorts of little sparks, actually. It's like little sparks of starbursts that are happening inside your cloud. And then, oh, the cloud, all right, inhale now. The cloud is going to contract into itself. And it's going to expand outward to fill up the whole top of the tube. And it kind of flashes in a really neat way. It's flashing the ultraviolet now. And it's almost like radiating it. I've seen certain light effects on like searchlights and stuff that do this type of effect. And that's the effect that I'm actually seeing, where you've got like the ultraviolet purple rays and these like silvery sparkle rays just kind of shining out of the cloud. And in a moment, we're going to bring our at the moment, shining ultraviolet cloud self down, but not quite yet. We're waiting for a release of something. There's going to be a pop, and at that point, it's like we had the little rumble that was the inaudible thunder, and then we had the pops and the flash. There's the lightning. There's going to be a downpour, and this is when the purple rain frequencies just go like a huge, massive downpour with big, huge drops just going to go flying down your whole chamber, inside your whole chamber. And that means down into your whole self, down through your body. And they're going to go right through you and expand, actually, your chamber actually expands around you. So it's not just going through you, but also around you, around your entire body. If you stretch your arms out to the sides, it will go out even like an inch or two past your fingertips. That's how big your chamber will expand to be with the purple rain. So we're waiting for the pop of the purple rain. When the cloud burst goes, there we go. And when that happens, we're going to ride down with it and put ourselves back in as cloud into our Azure area. All right, they're going to let us know when it's going to pop. Okay. We'll inhale right before and hold for a moment. Okay, let's inhale now into our cloud. And hold for a moment till they give us the sign. And now just downward. Cloud down. Cloud down, rain down. Stop your cloud right at your Azure area and leave it there. And switch your awareness a bit to feel what's happening around your body. Try to feel the sense of the rain coming down all around you in your chamber. But it's not an unpleasant rain. It's the rain of Aya. And it is purple rain, and it only has that color because of its interaction with the Wayas frequencies. Because otherwise it wouldn't have a color, but it would have a feel. These rains that we've activated now will, in a moment or two, all on their own, pull down a stream of the same ultraviolet color frequency directly from where our cloud was, because now there is an open conduit in our pillar, in our chamber, that goes all the way up into that place sitting outside the cosmic matrix. So in a moment, we're going to get an infusion that is called the Ayaye, which is the dream stream directly from the Aya state, the Aya field. It is the Aya field frequency, but now moving downward in a small stream, smaller than the big rains around you. The rains will stay around you, but there's a small concentrated stream that on its own now, just as you breathe gently, is going to come down. It's starting to release already. It looks neat from viewing it from up there. But it's like this amazing ultraviolet purple stream of almost like liquid energy. But I wouldn't say liquid. Liquid light feels a little different. This feels more watery or not quite as thick as a gel. It's an interesting feel. Try to see if you can feel it. We'll let you know when it's coming down and to where it will be coming into the chambers at the height of the ceiling, and that's when we'll go up and use the inhale to grab it a bit and accelerate it. Okay, not quite yet. Okay, now they're saying inhale for a moment. And just hold at your cloud in the Azure, and that inhale motion will accelerate the process of the stream coming down. Feel it enter the Azure. And then on the exhale, you're going to push that stream all the way down, the dream stream, all the way down into the orb reservoir at its core. Just breathe gently for a moment. Try to sense these flows, that once that core flow is down, the rains almost start coming down like a sheet, like a very beautiful thin sheet of water almost, but the ultraviolet water all around you, but also running through you. It's like the sheet water is the skin, but it's just this lovely, fluffy feeling ultraviolet glow that is moving down and all through you. Feel it, try to feel it, and just breathe gently. And as you inhale, feel it go into your atoms and in between the spaces between your atoms. And as you exhale, feel it go out. And as you breathe, feel it cleansing your atoms and the spaces between them. When you breathe now, just when you breathe normally, you will have this activated. The ayaye flows are now with you and activated. There are ways we will learn to amplify them and to do all sorts of things with them. But right now they are actively activated. And you still have your cloud self that's hanging out at your Azure. And as a final part of this, they would like us to take that cloud self and stretch it out again into our whole body self. Remember, we made it, fill out our whole body. So inhale, and exhale the cloud into our inside of our body shape. Then inhale again and hold for a moment. And exhale and push upward and push our cloud body self up again. Just feet on top of our head. Just her feet on top of our head. Notice now that it too is sparkly, ultraviolet, and silver sparkles. Just breathe normally. And now, with yourself, your cloud self, imagine you're sitting itself in a lotus position. Like the cross-legged position. They used to call it Indian style, right? On top of your head, as if your bottom is sitting here, as if your head's to the floor, and you're now sitting down though, in a lotus position. I'd like to call that. And we're going to inhale for a moment into the azure of your cloud self. And on the exhale, we're going to push a beautiful violet sphere around us, a violet orb. It's a violet orb with silver sparkles twinkling through it, the orb of Aya. And now we'll inhale one more time into our azure up there. And use the exhale breath to push the sphere, our orb of Aya, and our self in the lotus position, all the way up to the place that we went past the YS field and sitting outside on the cosmic matrix. Feel a little bit of nudge as your sphere, your orb, actually touches the inside part of the Waya field before it passes through that little membrane. And when you feel that little bit of nudge of your orb self, inhale for a moment, and then use the exhale to give a little bit of thrust to your orb and push it through. And imagine it pops through and kind of bounces as it settles as an orb with your self sitting in lotus position inside of it, way up there on the outside of the first band of the cosmic bubble in the Aya field. Imagine that your cloud self there is a Buddha. Are you Buddha? Not a Buddha that has to be a Buddhist, but a Buddha self, the Bud self, that is the unification point in the self, in the spirit body. So imagine yourself as whatever kind of Buddha. If you were going to be a Buddha, what would you like yourself to be? If somebody was going to make a sculpture of you or a picture of you as a Buddha, how would you like that sculpture painting to look? It could be anything you want, for now. So just have it hanging out up there. And we're going to leave that part of our consciousness up there for now. And we'll call our Buddhas home later, this evening, when we get the rest of the activations. But when we go to sleep tonight, or this afternoon, whenever it is when we go to sleep. As you go to sleep and find that little space right before you drop off, where you lose complete consciousness of here, try to take one last inhale breath and exhale your sleeping self, what's going to sleep, all the way up, and join your Buddha self sitting out there. So go into the Aya orb, in the Aya field. Exhale yourself into your Buddha and go to sleep from there and begin that process. There'll be times when we meditate from this state too and have some interesting experiences open up for us. But for now, when you go to sleep, or even if you don't, if you're a person that really can't sleep in the day or something, bless you, I have workshops like these, but even a little power nap, even if you don't get to go all the way under, helps. The body needs to go horizontal, before you go through the next series of exercises, the techniques. So I hope you have enjoyed this much of the activations of the techniques. You have a part of you that now is in open flow with the Ayaye, living eternal dream stream. And you can now project yourself, when you go to sleep, up into the part of you that is hanging out in the Aya field as you go into dream. So we'll see you about 10 p.m. tonight. I hope you have a very nice afternoon. I think it probably is by now almost. And thank you for your patience. Night. Thank you, guys. That was wonderful, guys. I wanted to hear this because I have not heard it except when the Beloveds sang it to me. This is brand new. And it came through, what was it, about 8 o'clock, I think?
Yeah.
Something like that. And I use this weird little shorthand because I don't write music or any of that stuff. And I'm trying to write it down in shorthand. I'm going to forget this by the time I get all the graphs and stuff through. I know it. So I'm scrambling, trying to find something to record it on. My cell phone battery's dead, so I can't go into the video mode where I can at least, get a recording. So Willa saved the day. She had one of those little recorders, and she brought it up, and I just kind of screeched it because my voice is really rough right now. I just kind of screeched it into the, to the thing. Had the written words for it because they'd just given them to me. And they just took it and ran with it. So I was like, yay, they're doing really good. Ooh, that works up a sweat. Yeah, it is a very special song, P-S-O-N-N, actually. It's called, what do they call it? The Song of the Infinite Eternal One, big O-N-E. And there's subtitles, and we'll see that in a little while. Oh, anyway, here we go again, out of breath. Oh, yeah, it got a bit warm. Yeah, but that was neat. Even the drum rhythm and everything that they were doing, that was all brand new. And there's two parts to this. That's what I was trying. They have the main part, but there's this other part where another part of the group is supposed to go, yay, yay, while they're doing the other melodic part. And it creates this harmonic, this quite amazing harmonic once you get it right. I think they've done a wonderful job with it since they only had it since 8 o'clock. So that's the reason I wanted to just hear it first before we got into workshop mode. So thank you guys so very much for your talent, your voice, your drumming, and all of that. Thank you very much. We will be using it at a certain point in context. So this was just a practice. What's really neat is I'm noticing in this workshop, and some others, but it was more pronounced in this one, that because the Beloveds know I'm a bit tired and my voice right now is not up to the singing and those kind of things, neither is my lung capacity. And they're actually, they'll give me the basics, and they're helping other people to actually hear it so they can move with it and be the voice for it. And that's really nice because it's becoming a really a group experience in that regard, where the Beloveds are working, with not just, the 3 speakers, but with a lot of us. So I'm really grateful for that. Pardon me being out of breath. I'll stop in a minute. Anyway, thank you for your patience. Was aiming for 10. Yeah, right. Well, that was before they let me know there was 12 new graphs. Yeah, and if it weren't for Bob, who did some preliminary just shapes, they showed me some shapes. I had no idea what the Beloveds didn't tell me what the shapes exactly were, or where they went, or how you combine them. But thank goodness for that, or we never would have had the graphs. But the graphs were important because we have a new 3-step code, which is quite amazing. Even in black and white, it's very, very powerful. So I'm really looking forward to when Sue does her magic, hopefully, on it, and brings it to life with the color. But the codes and the songs were important this time because of the activations that are coming through that we began, I'd say last night, but it was actually this morning because we had 6 hours, literally on Sunday morning, and now we're in Monday morning already. But it's one of those strange workshops where we have Guardian Time Prevailed. What I'd really like to do for this evening, because the most important thing that we can do is is get to the point where we do the next set of the activations to finish what we started yesterday. Now, I know there might be one or two people who actually wanted to come to the workshop, but they weren't able to be here yesterday. So they're actually coming in just for the last couple of hours, God bless them,